Hello, I'm Ruchika Sharma, Program Coordinator at the Usanas Foundation. I welcome you all to the Sanas Dialogue, where we will be discussing Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic visit to Israel. This marks Prime Minister Narendra Modi's second visit to Israel since 2017, as it's also interestingly occurring at a critical time amid rising geopolitical tensions in West Asia and heightened tensions between USA and Iran, including military actions. To discuss this, we welcome our distinguished speaker, Ms. Nina Slama, joining us today for the interview. Ms. Nina is an Indo-Israeli analyst at the Usanas Foundation and an experienced lecturer and project manager at Regman University in Israel. Ms. Nina, Prime Minister Modi's visit is described as an opportunity to further deepen the robust and multifaceted strategic partnership between India and Israel. As this two-day visit also includes meetings with Benjamin Netanyahu, and we also saw Prime Minister Modi's historic address in the Israel's parliament, in which he also condemned October 7 attack and he openly named Hamas. And he also reiterated solid support to Israel in its fight against terrorism and its all manifestations. And also there are discussions which can be on AI, trade and tech. It also shows that the India-Israel relation moves beyond trade and defense. This visit has generated curiosity at both domestic and international levels. And in the Jerusalem Post, it was on the front page featured the line, "Two ancient nations open uh, a new chapter." Even in the strategic circles, this visit has been framed as an elevation of the relationship to a special strategic partnership. I would like to know from you that how does Israel view this visit and what are your thoughts on it?
Thank you so much for having me. So first of all, it is two auspicious days, actually, in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi pay an official visit to Israel. It is the second time that he does it. The first time was in 2017, when he was the first interim prime minister to come to Israel and extend the strategic partnership between both countries. It was a milestone back then because the relations between both countries go back in the years. But with Prime Minister first visit, these relations became more visible and open between both nations. And it sent a very strong message to many countries in the world. Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi came for the second time. And it is also considered to be an historic visit because it is the first time that an Indian prime minister is delivering a speech in the Knesset, and not only discussing about the current strategic relations between both countries, but also opening a door for extending them even further. So here in Israel, there is a strong feeling of pride and excitement to see how one of the most influential and important leader of the world is coming to the Jewish state and reiterating the strong support of India to Israel.
Thank you so much for your thoughtful remarks. As also mentioned in the intro, that the India-Israel relations moves beyond trade, beyond defense and arms. So India-Israel are also strengthening their cooperation in various sectors like water, agriculture, space, and other innovation, research and development. And there are also negotiations underway for the free trade agreement. And in the speech yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also emphasized on the IMEC corridor to boost trade and connectivity between both the nations. But the IMEC progress has been significantly impacted due to ongoing regional tensions in West Asia. So, in what specific ways FTA could enhance relations between India and Israel, and what sectors could benefit especially from this agreement, given their volatile conditions and which are impacting the IMEC corridor?
Yes, thank you. So it is true that the strategic partnership is not confined to military and security issues. And of course, there is this very inspiring and very important project, the IMEC project that you just mentioned, that many countries, not only Israel and India, would like to promote in the region, because it includes many countries in West Asia and Europe. So it is true that the current war that Israel conducted and still conducting in different fronts impacted very much the possibility to extend and to promote this ambitious project. However, the current visit of Prime Minister Modi will allow both countries not only to upgrade existent military and defense agreements, allowing both countries to cooperate in more sensitive issues in this area, but also to allow the continuation of the negotiation of the free trade agreement, the FTA, that will enlarge very much the trade relations of both countries in different areas. So you mentioned, of course, agriculture, water management, renewable energies, health, security, technology, and so on. Both leaders say that the sky is not the limit when we are discussing about the current relations between India and Israel, because both countries also cooperate very closely when it comes to the space area. So we are very much looking forward to see the conclusion of the and the signing of the FTA that will, of course, extend very much the existing important and strategic ties.
That's very true, and we have to say that as today is the last day of his visit, that how all eyes are on the MOUs which are to be signed by both the leaders. My next question is on defense and security. India has drawn significant lessons from Israel's expertise, and that has helped us on the battleground. So defense and security are the cornerstone of the relationship. Israel is one of the largest arms suppliers, and this relation goes beyond buyer-supplier relations. The joint production and collaboration are the key features and Make in India initiatives. And even the sentiment of a shared security and strategic vision was echoed by Indian diaspora, which was waiting to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Israel. So my next question is on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recently announced Hexagon Alliance, though there is very limited information on it, but we would like to know the expert views on it. And given that UAE and Saudi Arabia have been experiencing friction in their ties, and India has their own priorities in the West Asia, do we really think that India and the other countries can come together under this framework?
Yes, so it is true that security and defense issues are very important to both countries, and they are collaborating very closely for many years, even before both countries normalized their relations in 1992. Israel, throughout the Cold War, was one of the only countries to assist India in its war against China in 1962 and Pakistan in 1965 and 1971. Going forward, Israel was also a very important country when it comes to the Kargil War of 1999, and from then, Prime Minister Vajpayee was the first Indian leader to understand the importance of Israel, and this is why he wanted to form a triangle between India, Israel, and the United States when it comes to security and defense issues. Talking nowadays, we know that West Asia is a combustible region with many developments occurring, always occurring and still occurring as we are speaking. While the axis of terror, what is, of course, that the Iran is added, the Shia axis, as we call it, is weakening, there is a new axis that is emerging and is still posing a threat not only to Israel, but also to India. And I'm talking, of course, about the Sunni axis. that is comprised by Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, and most probably Egypt, that will join and will not want to be put aside or behind. So these kinds of coalitions that are forged in West Asia make both India and Israel to seek partners that could not only continue to weaken the Shia axis, but also very much confront or maybe address the possible and probable threats that the new axis of Sunnah is posing to both countries. This is why Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that there is a new alliance that is forming not only on the bilateral level of India and Israel, but he was talking about the formation of a hexagon of alliances, including not only India and Israel, but also pragmatic Arab countries from West Asia, naming the UAE and others, and also close partners in Europe, naming Cyprus and Greece. And we can imagine why these countries were or are or will be part of this hexagon, because all these countries are very much threatened not only by Turkey, but also by Pakistan. And in allowing these countries to form these new coalitions, it will lead them to cooperate closely together and to put their relative advantages when it comes to security and defense issues. Now, these countries also would like to bring peace and stability to the region. And this is why they are cooperating very closely when it comes to health issues, agriculture, renewable energies, water management, and other aspects that are part of what we call the personal security of people. From the pandemic, or since the pandemic, we saw that many people were affected not only in regarding health issues, but also economically, and also in regards to connectivity, that weakened very much the stability, economy, and social issues of many countries. So this is why we see that on the one hand, India and Israel are collaborating closely on the bilateral level in security, defense, and other issues, but also are welcoming other countries with the same vision of bringing peace and stability, not only in West Asia, but in the entire world.
Thank you so much for the remarks. And it's true that the security situation is very complicated in West Asia. And we are also seeing the increasing Hamas footprints in South Asia. So we really need to see that how this strategic vision is going to unfold. So another thing that I would like to mention is that this time also Prime Minister Modi has de-hyphenated the issue of Palestine, like he's solely visiting Israel. And in speech also he mentioned Gaza peace plan, but he did not mention about the two-state solution. So it shows that India is following a pragmatic diplomacy where they are pursuing confident and interest-driven diplomacy over what we have pursued in the past. So analysts, my next question is on this only, that analysts view this visit as a test of India's foreign policy as it tries to balance relationship with Israel and other West Asian countries. I would like to give an example, like India hosted, before coming to Israel, India hosted second India-Arab foreign ministers meeting on 31st Jan 2026 after a gap of 10 years in New Delhi. Before this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also visited Jordan in December 2025. So this is of course going to create troubles, and there are a lot of articles also coming up where they are questioning the India's stance, and there's a lot of discussion about the pragmatic diplomacy. So what are your views on it? I just want to know about your expert views on this.
Yes, so first of all, India is conducting a multi-aligned foreign policy. It can have good relations with the US and Russia, with Iran and Saudi Arabia, with Israel and the Palestinian Authority. And this is something that Israel understands. And Israel believes that India is taking care and promoting its own interests in different regions and parts of the world. And what characterizes the relations between India and Israel is not only friendship, mutual understanding, and trust, but also maturity. We both nations understand the constraints, the challenges, and the opportunities that are on the table of both countries. And this is why Prime Minister Narendra Modi understood that in order to promote India's interests in the world, it should forge close and even strategic relations with many actors. India sees the world as one family, having one future. And in order to allow this vision to fulfill and be an important part of India's foreign affairs, he is conducting this de-hyphenated policy and strategy, not only with Israel, but with many other countries in the world. So it was very moving to see during his important speech in the Knesset how he outlined many aspects of the relations and how he reiterated its support not only to Israel, but also to the Palestinian Authority, showing India's ability and flexibility to have good and strong relations with different actors in the world. And this is what characterized India's power and leadership in the world. And I believe, on a personal note, that many countries should follow suit and should learn from India how to conduct their foreign policies, because I believe that this kind of policy will allow the world to be more stable and more prosperous.
My last question is on the cooperation on the counterterrorism. Israel and India, they both have stood together against their fight against terrorism and its manifestations. Both the nations face hostile neighborhood, and India also faces the rising issue of extremism. In Israel, like Narendra Modi also mentioned about the 26/11 attacks carried out by Lashkar-e-Taiba, in which a Jewish Chabad center was also targeted by the terrorists. Israel has firmly supported India, and they have also declared Lashkar-e-Taiba as a terrorist organization. But when we talk about India, the Hamas is still yet to be designated as a terrorist organization. So, can this affect the counterterrorism cooperation between the two countries?
I believe that it will not affect the relations or the counterterrorism relations between both countries, because both countries, as you mentioned, are facing mutual challenges in their respective geopolitical parts and positions in the world. So you know that these kinds of collaboration is very important to both countries, and these kind of designating one organization, terror organization as such, is a symbolic gesture that the different countries are doing. But we have to remember that when the October 7 attack occurred in Israel, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the first leader to condemn the attacks and also to support Israel in many ways, including sending some military equipment that will allow Israel to combat and fight in different fronts. So we see that the very known sentence, "A friend in need is a friend indeed," is very much present when it comes to both nations. I can also say that when the Sindur or the Palgam terror attack occurred, followed by the Sindur operation, Israel was an important partner when it comes to military defense and counterterrorism issues that allowed India to combat Pakistan, because India and Israel are surrounding by state and non-state actors that are undermining time and again their national securities. So I believe that in this regard, we know that current and existing defense and military agreements will be upgraded to a sense that both countries will be able to collaborate even more closely on more sensitive issues, because the threats are just growing. We discussed about the different accesses that are emerging and existing in West Asia and influencing not only this part of the world, but also South Asia very much. We know that there are close relations between Hamas and Pakistan. Many terrorists from Hamas visited Pakistan right before the Pahalgam attack. And when we saw the horrific visuals from this attack, we here in Israel had like a flashback of the October 7 attacks, because they operated quite the same way there. And we believe that we will continue to cooperate in this matter, not only in extending our relations, but also in signing an important agreement that will allow India and Israel to continue this close collaboration, an important one. And it is estimated that these kinds of agreements will be worth between 8 to 10 billion dollars, a deal of missiles, drones, and co-production and co-development of new means to address these important challenges that both countries are facing today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nina, for your insightful remarks and joining us today for this discussion. This is a very timely and significant developments and discussion that we have to do. So thank you so much for joining, and we hope to see you again in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.